Hello everyone, my name is FlareBlitzed and welcome to Monochrome. It is officially October 2021, which only means one thing: Spooktober has begun. I've already played 2 of their games on the jam itself, but don't let us stop us now from being able to play other games. As a private detective formerly of the FBI and down on luck and love, you know to trust your instincts, and the case that she wants you to take terrifies you, as it is similar in nature to a case that went terribly wrong when you were with a Burial in the story of love, redemption, mystery, and cosmic horror. We're here for the horror after all, but also this noir setting too. I was working late with this dime walked in. Don't all of these stories start this way? Hey, wait a minute, let me back up a bit. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. And here we have a mysterious man on our laptop. The name is Rivers. Michael Carl Rivers. I'm a private investigator. I used to be with the FBI until a botched investigation. Now I make my own rules and do things my own way. What happened? Well, it was a child trafficking case here. Case that went bad. Bunch of kids got killed in a crossfire. I sank into a depression afterwards and lost my job. Next, my wife left me, which came as no big surprise, but still indescribably bad. Then I wound up inheriting some money from my uncle, and I started my own private investigation service. It's usually the typical stuff: affairs, missing people, and all that other jazz the cops haven't solved or have given up on. And sometimes there's the weird stuff. Crazy stories like UFO abductees, ghosts, and other otherworldly crap. Always turned out to be something I can debunk though. Exactly one day, I was hard at work on a bottle of booze, as one does, when this dame came in. She was a knockout, a bombshell, with the kind of legs a man would kill for, and a smile that could make a dead man blush. Oh dear. So she is possibly an antagonist, or a helpful character. As soon as she stepped in, I knew that either she was going to change my life, or she was going to be big trouble. Dolls like that usually are. I looked up from my computer and some spooky case I've been looking into. Her face seemed to have a bit of anxiety in it, and if somebody had killed her best friend or something. As if, yeah. I could tell by her footsteps that she was a lady on a mission. And then, she was right next to Noir. Are you Detective Ribbons, and are you Nebello's Saffron with an underscore between her names? She fidgeted nervously with her hands as she walked over and stared at me. Her intense eyes burned directly into my soul as she spoke, imploringly and with an urgent tone. My name is Nebello's Saffron. I need help. I tried to please, but they blew me off, like I was crazy or something. Please. You're my last hope. Never could resist a tight skirt and a pair of... Shut up, man. Take a seat, doll. Call her doll, okay. What is your motives here? I closed the lid of my laptop to get a better view of her as she sat down and... Man, get your mind out of the gutter. You're a detective, not an inspector. Sounds like you've got a hell of a problem. If the police won't even look into it. Please, don't think I'm crazy. I don't laugh. I'm so tired of that. Promise me? Love, I've heard of UFOs. I can handle anything. I'll see what I can do. She stared blankly for a moment before the urgency of her voice returned. It's my son. He's vanished. Been missing for a while now. Not just that, but my ex-boyfriend, his father, is missing too. I've tried to get everyone that I can think of involved. Police, FBI, and even a few other private investigators. They either act like it's no big deal, or they won't take the case at all. I don't understand it, because there's a lack of information. Weird. Why would the local PD gave her the blow-off like that? I nodded and listened to her story inquisitively as she continued. I made sure to take notes on the stuff that I thought could help. There was one of those conventions in town. Kids Fan Con, you know, where the big stars from television and movies show up to meet the kids, sign autographs and so on. My ex took him, and that was the last time I heard from him. I tried calling and going by the house, never got a reply. How long ago was this? Almost a year. Jeez, a year. That's a long time to have no new leads before taking another case involving a child. It makes my skin crawl, especially after the thing that got me booted out of a burial. Well, I don't know. I normally don't do cases involving children. Bad memories. Please, I'll do anything. No. Don't go down that avenue. No, no, no. Well, I could deal with it. Get your mind out of the gutter, man. This is a job, not an inspection. Okay, I'll take the job. We'll discuss payment later. She gave me Charlie's photo, and I proceeded to give her a few copies of my business card, and I took down her number, along with some more notes on the case before walking her out. Hey, I can be a gentleman, occasionally, you know. And then I am left alone with my thoughts in tow. I did a search on her son, Charlie, but it turned up very little. Sad, I thought. A kid vanishing without a trace gets you a 2-cent article in the back of a newspaper these days. Yeah, usually at the very back where no one's looking. Not at the very back, but like the second to last page or something like that. Checking online, I looked for the info on Kids Fan Con. Various things popped up, so I decided to narrow it down. She could have mentioned the date that this FanCon came down. FanCon, sorry, so that it can be more specified. So I decided to narrow it down, cross-referencing the words abduction and missing child. What I found shocked me. Okay. What is the shocking revelation? Then, oh gosh, Illuminati, God's sakes. Illuminati stuff. Hope it's not like a Red Room urban legend sort of thing. Oh, satanic cults. Arcane City Game Studios presents. Oh no, is that what this is? Oh, this game was also made by one person. I've also forgot to mention that there's a link down in the description below where you can download this game for yourselves to play. I actually think that this music might be copyrighted as well. I'm not too sure. Oh dear, lots of little, well not little, but huge names. Lady Gaga, Elite Super Drug, Adrenochrome. And... okay, is there a way to skip forward this? Anything at all? We're looking for the kind of people who can see a computer problem for all angles. Okay, the conspiracy theories were abundant. It looked to me as if people had lost their marbles in both desperation and helplessness regarding the topic of missing children. However, my anxiety increased when I read something which raised an eyebrow. On the local community forum, it appears that a number of children and their guardians have vanished locally around that convention. That is not what you'd call an ideal situation, because this is something paranormal or supernatural related, or occultic in this case. Why wasn't this being investigated, reported in newspapers or on television? Something didn't quite... something didn't sit quite right with me. It felt off, for lack of a better term. Yeah, unknown. I decided to look up the promoter of the Kids Fan Con. A web search easily produced a result. A well-known sleazeball named Brian Torgani. Not only was Torgani known to law enforcement as a smooth-talking local con man, he was an alleged slumlord and a former drug dealer. He had money, sure, but I guess that it was mostly from shady business dealings in back rooms. Yeah, kind of like speakeasies and all that kind of jazz. I proceeded to call one of my regional law enforcement contacts in order to get some information on Torgani's whereabouts. Is it gonna be of success? Hello. Jones, hey, it's Detective River. Hey, Rivers, how you been, pal? No, long time no see. How's that private eye business of yours going? Not bad. I'm actually calling about a case right now, as a matter of fact. Oh yeah? What you got, pal? Looking to find out the whereabouts of Brian Togani. Missing person investigation. I think he might be involved. Togani. Man, you don't want to get involved in that. Guy's dangerous. And the cops can't even seem to touch him. Pretty sure he's got somebody wired in the courthouse downtown, sorry. You just let me worry about that. This is my dime. Friend. Let me know where he is. Man, you know what? If you want to deal with that creep, fine. Just don't say I didn't warn you when it all hits the fan. And watch your back. Something in Officer Jones's tone of voice sent a chill down my spine, as if there was a fiend of impending doom lurking behind this whole case. There was a monster behind the curtains, and I was about to take a peek at it. He spends a lot of time at the tea bar. Just be careful if you go there, it's a shady joint. What does the tea imply, though? Thanks, Jones! What is that a short version of? You're welcome, and if anybody asks, you didn't hear none of this from me. Just say that we had a divine voice guiding us. So what was that before the click? Oh, it's just click. Okay, my bad. Checking the backlogs can be kind of important. Why is a Slender Man on our laptop? I decided to ride down to the tea bar, hoping like hell that clown was there. Let's see, I drove through the streets nervously, wondering what I might encounter at the bar. And as I said earlier, it was a speakeasy way back in the old days, and that influence still seemed to have a firm grip. Rumours abounded that the place was a rowdy, organised, crime-controlled night spot. But then again, who was I to judge how people want to spend their free time? Maybe the rumours were just that, or maybe the place was as bad as its reputation seemed to indicate. I'll find out soon enough, I thought to myself, as I neared the outskirts of town where the tea bar resided. Let's see what we have here. So this is definitely the tea bar. Weird perception of the tea bar from the protagonist's point of view. What exactly with all these animations going on? Just like with the slideshow of different like pop stars. I can't read that text. Is it something about help me? Things are not as they are. Not that again. As I got out of my car, I had one of my infamous neurological fainting episodes. Those things drove me nuts, sorry. Mad is a not far off word for it as well. None of the doctors could figure them out either. I regained my focus looking around. Let's see, we have this bar, but also there's a lack of noise, indicating it might be quite quiet around these parts. Let's see what we have going on here as we walk down to the entrance of this bar now. I'm no rapper, by the way, and don't you judge me as a rapper as well. I made my way to the door, preparing myself for anything that I could encounter once I got into the building. A tender dread gripped me, remembering the warning of my police officer friend. The reverberation of music drifted outside. However, the street itself was barren of any activity other than myself. I brushed off the looming terror in my mind and made my way into the building. And definitely alcohol, smoke, gambling and everything like that. Suddenly a crazed-looking fella stumbled towards me rather aggressively. It didn't take very long to figure out who he was. Hey, I know you. You're that loser that got fired from the FBI, then became a private one of those. What do you want? You ain't really welcome here. You're Togani, right? Relax, man. I just came in here to ask you a few questions. He quickly grabbed a tranquilizer gun off of a nearby table. Whoa, 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 relax. I'm just here to ask you about... Let's see, will this influence our decisions here? I may need to disable music for the time being. Actually, there's no way to disable music. The Kids Fan Con. I'm trying to find out about the event you promoted a while back. Kids Fan Con? There are several kids and their parents who mysteriously vanished after attending it. What the hell? Are you accusing me of something? Your eyes hurt? Torgani raised a weapon at me, angry and looking like he was about to fire. Time to rough this scumbag up, I thought to myself. I'll just beat the information out of him. I proceeded to quickly backhand his arm, knocking the weapon from his hand. I then kicked him in the leg and threw a quick series of jabs to his face. He came back at me, stumbling around and knocking me over a table which collapsed. Yikes. And then a few minutes later, and half of the bar was damaged. Onlookers seemed to be enjoying the show, though. And I could have sworn I heard the bartender calling for bets on who would hit the ground and stay down. Hopefully they'll bet on me winning the fight. I swept Tagani's leg with a strong kick as I reached down and punched him in the stomach a few times. And then, fine, I swear, I don't know anything about no missing kids. I just promoted the damn event. The guy you want to speak to is the head of security, Paul Santos. He hangs out up at Jimmy's station. Now leave me alone. Thank you for your cooperation. Good night. Jimmy's Station. Wow, I haven't heard that name in a while. Fun little bar and restaurant, and the biggest karaoke spot in town. Ever since that mysterious fire burned down the Tavern nightclub years ago. Jeez, now I have to go to yet another bar and had a bar hop since my 21st birthday. Yikes, and that was for completely different reasons. Yes, exactly, that would be the case. As with a lot of 21st birthdays. Not for everyone though, including myself. I headed out to the car and made my way down to Jimmy's Station. Jimmy's Station Bar and Grill. Figured I could get something to eat and listen to some tunes while I was there, regardless of Santos being present or not. Lovely. And I went through the streets of the sprawling metropolis, making my way down to the south end of the country. As I pulled up, the place looked almost exactly like I'd remembered it from the last time that I was here, though from what I had heard it was under new management, as of a couple of years ago. And in here, it looked to be a busy night. There were various groups talking, eating, and singing karaoke. Looking around, Santos was nowhere to be seen, and I wonder if Brian had lied to me just to get me out of the tea bar. Decided to wait it out. I take a seat at one of the empty few tables, and a doll came over to rushing over to take my order. Why can't you say they're a person? But again, this is kind of like 1800s, 1900s. Man, she was a knockout. Hello. Hey there, what can I get for you? Have you had time to look at the menu yet? Yeah, I'll take the number 4 and a side order of... Oh. I'm not finishing that. What? She giggled like a schoolgirl. You know what they say. Be careful what you wish for. Beer to drink or soda? Draft beer, please. She winked at me provocatively while writing down my order. You know around here? Actually, me and my partner own this place. We bought it a few years ago. I'll call you Lynn, yeah, because I'm not sure how to pronounce your full name. Pleasure to meet you. Listen, do you know if a cat named Santos might be here tonight? Probably. He's usually here after work for a few beers and he sings a couple of songs. Awesome. Thanks, sweetheart. You're a doll. Well, they say I'm about as limber as a doll, if that counts. Great. By the way, do you want a cookie or a candy bar? Cookies are what? You get a free one with your order for hit... Wow. Moving on. A cookie, I guess. Awesome, that means I get to eat the candy bar. My favorite. She walked off to put in my order. What a strange gal. Energetic, at the very least. After about 10 minutes, Lynn proceeded to bring me my food along with some witty banter. It was a fantastic meal, and this place still lived up to its reputation for good, cheap grub. I sat around for a while having a few drinks. Without warning, a man came up to my table. He set a few personal items down before speaking. "So, I heard that you were looking for me." "Who told you that?" "The owner, Lynn." "I'm Santos. Paul Santos. What do you need?" "I'm investigating some missing persons reports from the Kids FanCon last year. Apparently a bunch of people that went to it, specifically kids and whoever the guardian was that took them, vanished into thin air." "I heard about that too. I tried looking into it, but it's like I was blocked at every turn." "Weird. Did you guys get anything on camera?" "Not a damn thing, other than the typical coming and going. Well, actually, there was one thing that seemed really odd." "What's that?" "There were these little leaflets being passed around randomly. Kinda weird. Seems like everyone had them and no one knew where they came from." "Do you have a copy of one of them?" "Not on me, but I can email you a scanned copy once I get home." "Bravo! That would be excellent!" I proceeded to give Santos my email address. Seemed like the kind of guy I'd want on my side. Anyhow, you can never have too many contacts when you're in law enforcement profession. "Exactly, the more contacts the better." "Thanks, Santos. I appreciate it." He nodded, shook my hand and walked off. Now what a gentleman that is. Or what a guy, at the very least, a shake hand. Oh. That was a weird hand movement then. It was then that I realised that Santos had forgotten his stuff on my table. Okay, let's see. Nishkaknotic Sentinel, sorry. Vanishing of local savant still unsolved. No lead, say police. Okay, the newspaper article Santos had left was older than my granny. Why would Santos care about a missing fella from up in the northeastern part of the country who vanished over 100 years ago? Because this could be like an origin point to all of this. Let's see. The photo of the guy looked familiar, though, oddly enough. Let's see. We're back here. And the next day I made my way to the office, as usual. Still, nothing from Santos yet. Since I was there anyhow, I figured that I might as well do some research. I decided to look up. Let's see. Information on a person? Or information on a theme that we've already kind of got the gist about? Well, not gist about, but something on. Information on Kids FanCon. A Kids FanCon is an exciting event just for you kids. Be sure to bring along your parents. Don't forget to collect all of our limited edition FanCon trading cards. Usually the TV, music and movie stars are here all day. Children of all ages will have a great time. Try to make it out early. Okay, I see what you mean by that. Make it out early so that you're not closed up for the night. Something seemed really sus about the way that was typed. Yeah. Yes. The bottom of the page read, Kids FanCon is a division of Waylay Enterprises. For questions or to speak to us, please call 1-555-234-5821. I decided I might as well call them and see what I can find out. Is there going to be a response? And... oh, great.
Thank you for calling Waylay Enterprises.
Damn, not one of these things. At least it's not something ultra classic. Music. Oh, sorry, hold music. How long do we have to wait this out for? Do I need to get a coffee while this is doing its thing?
Glad you called Waylay Enterprises.
Oh, I love it. Actually, the times when you have to like ring up your doctors or something like that, and you're literally on a waiting list.
Warranty for your car.
Can I escape from this? And of course try to sell me an extended car warranty while I wait. Typical.
To expedite your call, please be sure to have the auction number ready. Thank you for
This
calling
does disrupt flow when it comes to the actual context of going about this kind of thing. What was that about an audition? I thought this was for a fan convention, sorry. Oh, but it just went. Hello? Anybody speaking? That was creepy. Right, decide to go back into the research mode then. And somebody told me that this wasn't a normal exhibition event company. I got a really bad feeling when I was listening to the recording. I was still puzzled about the audition. Auction thing, not audition, for goodness sakes. Auction thing. Auction for what? Auction for children. Suddenly my email inbox let me know that I had a message. I opened up the email to find a scan of a flyer, which at first looked innocent enough. But after reading everything and taking it in, made my spine tingle. I made a printout of it, taking a closer look. Aha! Sign our special guest book while you're here and get a cool, super secret name. A good way to lure people in. After visiting KidsCon, be sure to bring your guardian and come spend some time with the stars. Come visit them on the bus out. Yeah, of course, a bus. Like anything else that could be even more creepy would be a van. Like a white van. It's going to be a great time. You'll see things in a new light. Seems legit. Go to the tour bus after the convention. Secret names. All of this could be innocent enough at face value. However, with so many unexplained vanishings surrounding this convention, this sounds like some sort of a cult. Some sort of cult. Could the damned conspiracy theories be right? Really odd. As I stared closely at the symbol of the paper, I felt faint. What does this symbol symbolize? There was something hauntingly familiar about it, and yet I knew that I had never seen it. Deja vu? Jamis vu? Or another one of these kind of flashbacks. Oh dear. I'd gripped the desk tightly, having had another one of my neurological spells. After recovering from my daze, I scoured the web for the previously mentioned symbol, searching frantically for its meaning exactly. Sadly, the only thing that I could find was a reference to it appearing in an ancient grimoire, an occult book of spells, and various arcane mythology. This knowledge in hand, I figured the best thing to do would be to go on an actual college library. The closest one was Louisville University, so I hopped in my car and made my way there. I know I botched that pronunciation, and the very last one too. The city streets were surprisingly desolate, and I pondered the strange circumstances of this case as I continued driving. Hopefully I'll find something, anything really, to keep me on the trail of Miss Saffron's missing kiddo. And we hear in the library, or a library. The library, which also has colour to it, was quiet and nearly empty, except for the occasional student. Sad. I thought to myself, witnessing firsthand the downfall of the written text, there is something to be said for the feel of a soft page turning in one's hand. Snapping back to reality, I walked around looking through the occult section of the library. Sadly, there wasn't much there. Rather, nothing useful in my quest to identify the cryptic symbol on the leaflet. Keep looking around. This could be the librarian. You look like a guy who is trying hard to find something, considering the section you're looking in. I might be able to help you with that. I looked up from the bookshelf to see a nicely dressed man with silver hair and striking blue eyes standing there. Hey there. Hi there, I'm Chris. Pleasure to meet you. I help you out at the library. And I'm also a professor of archaeology, cosmology, and astrophysics. I teach both here and up at Miskatonic university, depending on the time of year. Something I can help you find? A professor? Perfect! Maybe this guy can help me out. Hey, Chris. My name is Detective Rivers. I'm looking for information on this symbol, I replied, pulling up a flyer and pointing to the strange sigil. His eyes widened. Where'd you get this? It's part of a case I'm working. I take it from your reaction that you've seen it before? Yes, it's from a very old grimoire that was originally found in the Middle East and was lost to time. There are a sparse number of badly translated copies that still floating around. The title of the book roughly translates to The Book of the Dead, or the Necromanicon. Whoa. The Necromanicon use bubbles. What in the hell was that? Before I knew it, I'd fallen to my knees and the professor was helping me back up. That didn't just seem like a neurological fainting episode. It was some type of vision. Creepy. Perhaps this occult thing has entered your neurological senses as well. I looked at the professor nervously. After what I just witnessed, I didn't know if I was going mad or if perhaps my medication needed adjustment. But something instinctually frightened me about this man. Are you okay, Detective Rivers? You look like you've seen a ghost. I'm fine. Thanks for helping me out, pal. You were saying? My tone may have had some unintentional urgency. I don't want to be around this guy any longer than I had to be. The symbol. Best that Academia had been able to decipher is a sigil of a forgotten entity which, according to the crazed writings of the author of the Necromanicon, was worshipped by some rather mad skeks back in the day. What? Yeah, and it gets more interesting. These skats regularly practice some of the worst rituals known to mankind. Human sacrifice, cannibalism, dark magic, and other immoral things. They claimed that the universe was based, not around good and evil, but was instead alien to the human ideas of right and wrong. Human sacrifice? Yep, and even the entity's name was feared to be spoken aloud. What was it called, if you don't mind me asking? I don't know if I should tell you or not. According to the gent who penned the Necromanicon, Abdallah al-Hazard, even knowing the name of a god can drive one to insanity. So how are you still so sane, Chris? He smirked slightly. I'm fine with that. Lay it on me, Pally. Azeroth. Oh. Dearest, we need to leave now if we're going to attend a ceremony. An alluringly feminine voice called out towards the direction of the professor, no doubt his significant other, based on the aroma's inflections and keywords in her rather seductive vocal tone. Ah, my better half, Cassidy, has arrived. Yes, and we're going to be late for our evening ritual if you do not hasten yourself, love. Of course, beautiful. The woman gave off a magnetic pull that was beyond describable. And while she was alluring, the lady's vibe was somehow even more panic-inducing than the aura of a professor. Great. If you'll excuse us, Detective Rivers, we need to leave. We have plans. I was afraid to know what those plans were, and how did she know my name? Maybe she overheard you. Alright. Thanks for your help, Professor. You two have a good night. No problem. And if you need anything else, I'm in the phone book. My full title is Professor Christopher Saffron. Wait, Saffron? Good night. Who else in this game is named Saffron? After they left it hit me, Saffron. That was my client and her child's last name exactly. Could the professor be related to her? This is getting really weird. At this point, I need to update Nebulas on my findings thus far. So I made contact and asked her to meet me for pizza, the best franchise I know of. Beyond telling her what I found, I just wanted to go relax and have a nice dinner with a good-looking lady and a family-friendly, awesome establishment without any mention of murder, kidnappings, or cults. Exactly. For goodness sakes. I drove a few miles and parked as the young waitress at Pizza Time Pizza greeted me politely and with enthusiasm. And here we are at this establishment. I followed the waitress and made my way to the table as the scent of freshly made pizza, garlic bread and lasagna permeated my senses. And what do we have here? Another pizza. Oh, a pizza, sorry. And oh, there's missing posters as well. As I called ahead of time, a beautiful freshly made pie was sitting on the table, complete with a rather large, ornate cutting knife and an oddly decorated cutting board. I made my way over and sat down, figuring that I'd better wait until the doll arrives to cut the slices. I would never, ever call a waitress a doll, for goodness sakes. Hopefully she felt like eating. This place was legendary. Admitted, there was some sort of big scandal several decades ago revolving around the original Pizza Time Pizza restaurant. From what I'd heard, they kept their noses clean since then. I have to admit in retrospect that the elevator music they were playing was a little bit odd. Oh dear, and these visions again. God damn it. With all this kind of stuff going. Oh my god, that looks like blood. Yeah, blood. Blood on it again. What's with all these visions? For goodness sakes, and using Google Images as well because they all got like the stock overlay or something like that. For goodness sakes, not cool to use. Another one of those fainting spells of mine. That was surreal though. It was the Pizza Time Pizza Man and a bunch of macabre imagery. I really am starting to believe that I'm losing my marbles. I'll wait a bit longer, ignoring my ravenous hunger pains for a bit until you know who finally showed up. Hello, good to see you again, Mr. Rivers. While I'm hoping you're hungry, there's plenty to eat. Famished, actually. I've been running around all day. I still put up with those little missing posters everywhere. Oh gosh. Don't you worry, doll. We'll find him. Do you really think so? It's been so long since he's disappeared. She rests her head on her hand, a sad expression on her beautiful features. Well, there's so that I've got to tell you about my progress. It sounds nuts, but the more I look into it, the more it looks like some kind of crazy cult kidnapping. There are a bunch of conspiracy theories going around about Hollywood types taking kids to harvest something called adrenochrome from them, alleged to stay young. It's nuts. Okay, so it does sound like one of those cults where it's like you're forever young and stuff like that. Tears began to form in her eyes. I reached over and gave her a hug, comforting her. The good thing is that I think I have some leads on the people who I think took him. Really? She took a napkin and dried her eyes. I say, yep, sure do. Just let this sink in. If we don't find him, I can just help you make another one some night. Okay, I've got leads. We're gonna find Charlie. Yep, it seems like so far we're selecting the second option in all of these. Detective Rivers, you're the best. If it's not too forward of me to ask, would you like to go out dancing with me sometime? Absolutely. Sounds good to me. She smiled, both hopeful and more relaxed. This would be a new beginning for her. Oh dear. Again, these spells were hitting me more and more now. If this kept up, I was gonna have to wind up locking myself in the asylum, yikes. We sat around and ate, and talked, and ate some more, before she left. The waitress brought me the damage on the receipt which I paid with a credit card. She acted sheepish, which she gave me when she gave me the receipt back after payment and scurried off. I would soon find out why. Why would that be the case, Ben, if that's going to be a thing? On the back of the receipt was a a universal resource link. I headed back to the office to look it up. What would that be then if that is the case? Why would you give us a URL? I looked up the URL. It took me to an auction website. The auction was for a pair of shoes named Charlie's Shoes. Sorry, Charlie's Shoes for 2,000. What the hell? They're auctioning children. Oh, what the hell, I decided. I clicked on the Buy It Now button. Suddenly a new page popped up, asking me to enter my payment information and my phone number, which I did. Is this the best way forward? Yet another page surfaced, telling me to call the Waylay Enterprises phone number. I took a deep breath and picked up the handset on the telephone. Okay. A robotic voice picked up. Authorization confirmed. Your prize will be located at 296 Innsmouth Street. Thank you for using Waylay Enterprises. Click. I ran to my car, picking up my pistol, my phone, handcuffs, and a pocket knife. Pocket knife for emergency uses. I made my way to the location. As I was close to arriving, my cell phone rang. I could hear Miss Saffron on the line, though it was distorted. Help me! They've got me! Someplace on Innsmouth Street. Underground, oh God! I quickened my driving. Pulling up to the building and running to the door, the place was old and clearly abandoned, and yet the entry was unlocked. The sparse, empty warehouse-like rooms seemed musty and uninhabited, and the faint glow of candles lit the walls. A trapdoor in the floor was visible, so I quickly flung it open, running down the creaky wooden steps. What I found bewildered me. Oh my gosh, a fleshy hallway. There, sloping down, was a long tunnel, and apparently the entryway to a cave, deep in the earth. I walked for ages, making my descent carefully, while also taking note of my surroundings. Some sort of monument, no, not monument, but a pillar there. I thought it was a monument, but then it was connected to the stone pillar above it. I was then made privy to something beyond belief, impossible by any reasonable stretch of logic, and yet there it was. An ancient, huge underground chamber, perhaps a tomb of sorts, carved out of the rock facing. Soft voices, doing some form of chanting, were audible in the distance, and that shook me to my core. As some of them sounded like children, I shook it off as best as I could and pressed onward. Oh gosh, I couldn't believe the strangeness that lay before me. It was a giant face, bearing a tormented expression. The imitations of human anatomy were perfectly chiseled from the rock facing, and the peak stretched at least 50 feet high. I surmise. Terror continued to weigh me down, but my fear for Miss Saffron and her beloved Charlie compelled me to press on. This could all be a trap, actually. To few of a number of private detectives out there that could possibly try and unhinge and remove this cult. So therefore they decide to pick on these detectives one by one so that there's no possible means of the cult being found out. The colour likely drained from my face as I witnessed the behemoth that stood ahead. A staggering double door, if one could call it that, standing well over 100 feet tall and bearing a bizarre monstrosity upon the surface. Between myself and said entryway sat a field of human skulls and bones of varying shapes and sizes, some of which looked to be centuries old, and others much more recent. At the crest of the structure was a menacing eye-shaped carving which I felt watching me. It came as a surprise to me. So that eye was on one of those pizza man hallucinations. It came as a surprise to me, but I haven't passed out as of yet. This was by far the scariest thing that I've ever bore witness to, and yet somehow I managed to stay in upright position. So we get close to this monstrosity. A large block jutted out from the surface, apparently a triggering mechanism of some type, which would most likely open this doorway. Gathering all of my strength, I forced it, and a giant click echoed through the chamber. I quickly stepped back, just narrowly avoiding being squashed by the double doors, which slowly opened outward. Beyond the aperture lay a huge dark tunnel with the occasional lit candle along the wall, dispensing barely enough luminance to navigate. At the far end, however, seemed to be a distant light source, along with the locally of the aforementioned chanting and screaming noises. I took a few deep breaths and trod on. Moving deep into the structure, tingles rode down my back like electrical current, as I heard Miss Saffron ahead pleading for me to come to her. I increased my pace, pulling my pistol and making it ready. At the end of the tunnel, I came upon something that I could not fully describe in a coherent manner. The path jutted up from the surrounding rock as a number of oddly shaped hexagonal steps, going through some sort of an arc and terminating at a something. It looked that word, and it rotated slowly. The sounds that I had previously mentioned, in fact, were coming from the object itself, a rather alien-like object. As I stepped close to it, fearfully I gazed. What I saw within it appeared to be people some distance away in a room of sorts. I could not discern most of the individual faces, but there looked to be a number of robbed figures displaying ceremonial daggers. Some of them lurked over altars, with people laying upon them, and others were gathered in a semicircle around Miss Saffron, who was standing entranced, for lack of a better term. Ignoring my sweating body and absolute fear, I made my way into the somewhat spherical gate with heightened resolve. And are we going to be ambushed by somebody who's going to appear behind us? Well then, would you look at that? Look at this lovely welcoming... Oh, hi. What I saw filled me with horror. Nebula's Saffron was standing there in some sort of ritual outfit, in a bizarre trance of sorts, strange sounds emerging from her throat. Her skin has now raised marks on it that were clearly of an occult nature, perhaps branded there by torture. I point my pistol at the road figures, who had all moved behind her at this juncture. Suddenly a chorus of reverberating voices filled the chamber, all in varying pitch, yet in a terrifying harmony. The most prominent of the voices was coming from Miss Saffron. "You have entered my chamber. Your mind has been lost for such a long time now. What the hell was I witnessing? I stood there absolutely motionless and unable to move. You have lived many different lives, shifting to different manifestations of the All-in-One throughout time, but through the epochs of your approaches, your original identity has been lost. I don't know how to pronounce that word. EPOCHS. Somehow I managed to muster up the courage to speak. What in the hell are you talking about? What is all this? What are you people? I knew you three would be here. 3 other familiar figures walked out, casually, as I felt even more unease. They stood there, just staring at me. Oh God, I thought. They're all in on this too. Meet the parents. This is my father, Christopher Saffron, my mother, Cassidy Soloris, their friend, Lynn. What the Now, that'll be enough of that, and you won't be needing the pistol. Out of nowhere, my sidearm was suddenly grabbed by something lurking in the shadows. A long appendage had yanked it from my grasp, and it loudly clattered upon the ground, somewhere in the dark, foreboding distance. The others, with the exception of Nebulus, moved away, back into the shadows, though I could sense them burning a hole into me with their gaze. Yikes. Oh dear. You are one of the few humans to comprehend the true nature of the multiverse. You learned that you were an infinitely small facet of a much higher being, one of infinite knowledge and power. That entity is known to me as Yog-Sothoth, the name that it was recorded as in the original Necronomicon. Oh gosh, this is me speaking, sorry. It's also been called the All-in-One, conterminous with space and time and yet locked out of it. There's so many complicated words in this game. Wait, how do I know that? In your first life, you traversed space-time and met one of its avatars, with the help of an artifact known as the Silver Key. You learned that all life forms are just minuscule facets of the greatest of beings, gods if you will, and you gained the knowledge needed to transpose your mind into another tiny facet of Yog-Sothoth. Wait, I remember now. I left my own mind and inhabited an alien creature on another world in the distant past due to not knowing how to get back to my own body. I became entrapped in that creature's mind for many years. Correct, you finally got free, and then you started to amass more of an understanding, jumping from body to body across space and time, until you became more than the sum of your past. However, you jumped into this body, Detective Rivers, upon its conception, and you forgot who you were. Oh god, I'm starting to record it now. It's like there's a giant info drop going on in my brain. Welcome back, Randolph Carter. Tonight we celebrate your ascension from a mere facet to an avatar of Yog-Sothoth, like my father. I screamed as a flood of memories and awareness forced himself into my brain, vomiting terrible knowledge within my mind. Oh gosh, I've seen things I couldn't before. I have more senses than a normal human. Oh god, help me! It was at that instance I came to realization that the people in robes were actually the missing children, who had taken a secret name in the book of the mad cult of the blasphemous deity, Azeroth, the blind idiot god above all others, and those stripped to be altars, suffering and being tormented, were the parents of those young ones. Yikes. This is some creepy stuff. At that moment I caught a glimpse of a giant creature, or perhaps just its face, of what I assumed was a face, in the darkness. From its maw, wriggling tentacles were connected to Nebula's back, controlling her as if a puppet. And now we feast! Best date ever, I cackled gleefully. I now felt a group of tentacles from my own back, connecting me to the madness of all-knowing Yog-Sothoth. I keep pronouncing it incorrectly, as I ran over and took a bite out of one of the parents, enjoying the feeling of their blood spraying over my body. Oh gosh, this man's gone insane. Nebula's Saffron cackled along with me, gleefully and manically, and I knew that nothing would ever be the same. Sometimes, you just gotta take a chance with a cow. Oh dear, that's no good. This feels like an ending of sorts. And... aha, that is indeed what you would call the tale of Monochrome. So that, folks, was a really good game in its own ways. I mean, the music itself is copyrighted, obviously. Check them out on YouTube. Arena for streaming something. It transcended reverse, which shouldn't be the case, but it's still cool in its own little ways. So we'll get through all of its credits, but unfortunately you won't be able to hear this because it sounds copywritten. It's not a cult. I was not a cult, because cults in that way are not good. Betrayal, self-pity, 180, dartboard. Special thanks to H.P. Lovecraft, David Lynch, Rod Sterling, Stephen King, And anyone forgot? Sorry, been up this several days straight. Oh dear, yeah. Like it could be one of those panic moments where let me know if you do a Let's Play or a stream. Comment. Oh my god, fourth wall breaking, for goodness sakes. Feel free to leave feedback. We promise not to eat you. Well, if you find me dead, or if this is my last ever Let's Play on a game, then obviously that this is going to be the case. But then again, if the developers intended to put that in there so that streamers would be able to well, play, because obviously when it comes to streaming stuff like that, you obviously don't want copyrighted music, obviously. So that, folks, is Monochrome. I'm not sure if there are other endings to this game, but I think all in, like, it seemed like a very ultimatum ending of sorts, where everything just came into play. Although you could just try and not seek the Gal in this case, and therefore you don't become this ethereal being. But with a lot of these beings, I have no idea how to pronounce their names and stuff like that, so, you know, if you know how to pronounce it, then don't be too harsh on me. We're all different people, we all have different skill sets and stuff like that. So, thank you so much for watching, guys. This has been Monochrome, but it's also called Arcane City for some odd reason. But the main name of the title of the game is Monochrome in its own ways. Although, there are some things on the game's page which I haven't come across. So there's like a newspaper article which I haven't seen, or maybe I have seen, but it's just like one of those flashback sort of things. Thank you all so much for playing, folks. Please check this game out for yourselves. There's a link in the description below, as I said earlier in the video, and we shall see each other in another spoopy game for this October's Spooktober Jam. Thank you so much for watching, and take care of yourselves.